It's a highly technical domain, but Kabbalah wise. So we have to kind of know, I mean, this is geography. If I'll try and make it clear, but if it's not clear, please stop me. What's where, what's what are we talking about? So to review Ois Gimel, which we finished Ois Gimel. So to review Ois Gimel. Ois Gimel, this is all to explain what? The question that the Alter Rebbe says in Perek Mem Aleph in Tanya, the only way to effect the yichud of Kutchebrichu Shchinte is with an ave which is completely selfless and not to quench the thirst of the neshama. And the question is, and if a person has a desire to quest his thirst, what does he want? He wants Elikus to be revealed here to him. Is that not the unity of Kutchebrichu Shchinte? Kutchebrichu is the transcendent levels of Elikus, and Shchinte, as we learned in the previous Maimarim, at great length, the various levels where this occurs, this unity. Shchinte is always the indwelling. So if he longs for godliness to be revealed to him, that is surely the yichud of Kutchebrichu Shchinte. So why does the Alter Rebbe insist in the state in Perek Mem Aleph of Tanya that such an ava will not elicit a revelation of Kutchebrichu Shchinte? Only the love, of a child, he uses an analogy, who loves his parents more than himself, and then will sacrifice himself to redeem them from captivity. I think the point of the marshal there is he redeems them from captivity. He's not even there to welcome them. That's the point. He redeems them and doesn't have the satisfaction, the objective, one would think, is to be reunited with them. No. They're redeemed and he's gone. That's the kind of ava, the Alter Rebbe says, that is required to carry out the divine intent, which is godliness in the world. Asks the Rebbe, it's obviously a wonderful level, but surely a level of longing and of thirst for God. Why would that not be also an ava that would elicit that revelation? We also need to bear in mind that doing mitzvahs without any kind of ava, in fact, doing mitzvahs even for completely selfish agendas, for reward or for honor, also in essence effect. You do the mitzvah, you carry out the divine will, so we connect to Hashem and draw His presence, as it were, into the world. The whole role of kavanah and ava is its revelation. Although the Maimon doesn't seem to make that distinction, it just leaves it blanket, open. But just putting it into context, this is not to say that if a person doesn't have this level of ava, he speaks about in this Maimon, or in Perek Mem Aleph, that one's mitzvahs don't carry out the divine kavanah intent. They do, not completely, not in a fully revealed way, but in essence, yes. Like a diamond in the rough. And then there's the polishing and the setting and within setting itself, there's many levels that will cause the diamond to truly express its presence and glitter and inspire. But the diamond is still a diamond, even if it's unpolished. That was in parentheses. Okay, but to understand, to answer this question, that's the question of the Maimon. So to start to explain, let's get the language and the geography, as it were, of Elikus straight here. As he speaks in the Maimon, he says as follows: mitzvahs are, let's get this term straight, tayag orchin de galgalta, which in translation means the 613 paths of the head or the skull. Better word for skull. Yeah, the skull. What is this? Skull. Huh? Skull. That invokes the Wild West. The scalp. But it means it's using the bone. The bone, the skull that covers the head is the tzimtzum. So it's all of that. Anyway, so what are the 613 pathways? These are the 613 pathways between the hairs. He's not differentiating in this maimah between the pathway and the hair. In total, the hairs that grow in these pathways, these are the 613 mitzvahs that project from the divine mind via the agency of the tzimtzum, which is the skull. The divine mind is the brain, and it's all a moshel. It's a moshel. It's a moshel because we're made in God's image, and therefore every detail of our physical and physiological and spiritual being is a reflection of the divine. Every detail. Mind you, as we discover, science discovers more and more detail and subtlety within the physical body in the world at large, but particularly the body, this is all reflective of nuanced levels l'mayla. So science really helps in understanding the levels of the neshama and the levels l'mayla. Dr. Brower that you mentioned, Keslו, obviously doctors have a better understanding of scientists. Because of this, their knowledge of science, the understanding of the brain and the body, etc. So this abets them in the study of Chassidus. Science is not only not a distraction, not a distraction, but a contradiction, presents problems. In the contrary, I mean, theoretical science would, but hardcore science and its discovery of the way things work only helps us, as prophesied in the Zohar. Okay, let's move ahead. So there's the 613 hairs that grow on the pathways of the skull. Right there's pathways. The white area, it's the white area between the hairs. They're actually pathways. There's a pattern. I'm not sure if science has discovered this, but there's a pattern. The hair has a pattern, the way it grows. So the skull is the tzimtzum. So he goes on to explain. The Rotz and the Elyon itself, I'm basically just translating. The Rotz and the Elyon itself is absolutely transcendent of numbers and division. And the individual mitzvah, therefore, is a consequence of tzimtzum, like the hairs that emerge as a result of the actual brain, which is the moshel of the divine mind, that's the pnimius of Elikus, being concealed, that's the tzimtzum, the h'tשכ goyles. Then, good, that's pretty clear, yes? That imagery is pretty clear, yes? Thumbs up, thumbs down, guys, yep. Everybody's frozen in time on the video, yeah, okay, shkoyach. Now he goes on to say more detail, and that is the Rotz and the Elyon is called Keser. And Keser is 620. So this is the 613 mitzvahs plus the seven derabanan, Shemitzvahs Bnei Noach. Now they're called in Kabbalah, this is the language here. Kabbalah, they're called Tarach Amudei Or, 620 pillars of light. And he's been medayik here in pillar and light. So first of all, we're not talking about the atzmiyas harotzen, the essential will is believable. As if to say, the essential will is, I want mitzvahs, says the Eibishter. Or, rephrase that, I want to be connected to you. That's the essential rotzen. How? Then, via the tzimtzum that the rotzen is articulated into 613 ways, addressing, I want to be connected to you in every part of that makes you up. And you're made up of 613 parts. For that matter, the whole cosmos is made up of 613 general parts. So there's the general rotzen, the desire for a relationship, and the manifested rotzen, or the actualization of that rotzen, or the chitzonius of rotzen, relatively speaking. Not chitzonius doesn't mean something else or something less than. The chitzonius harotzen is what implements the pnimius harotzen. Dira b'tachtonim means making a human being that is complex, made up of 613 parts, in a world that is fragmented and complex. And there I want to be, says God. So the Ratzon then translates in through the Sidus, through the Tzimtzum, in articulated specific commandments. Now, the Loshen, again, a Kabbalah is Tarach Hamudi Oid, 620 pillars of light. So what's conveyed by the imagery of a pillar? So first of all, the downside is as he says, pillars of light, it's only a reflection, a projection of the essential source, the mo'ir, actually. It doesn't say the word mo'ir, but the luminary. And why a pillar? A pillar is something which extends from above to below and very far down. A tall pillar, that's the imagery here. But he says a word over here that the pillar is uniform. Is uniform, the same width. The pillar we speak about here is the same width from top to bottom. So he doesn't explain what the parallel to that. But at any rate, the point being, it seems that the upper section of the pillar, let's translate this in simple language to a McGill student. The upper section of the pillar is the Eibishter now saying, hey, first he says, I want a relationship with you. That's the Ratzon Atzmi V'Klali. Then and a relationship with you in all of your detail. So that's manifest, that's expressed overtly in the what? In the upper level of the pillar. Why is there a pillar? Because I want to be part of your meichen and your seichel and your hand and your foot in 613 parts. Then as the pillar descends, it then manifests into the nitty-gritty halachas of what to do. It's one amshacha, it's all one good. I want to be part of this detail of your life. And so it goes through this descent of tzimtzum all the way down to the final halach and shulchan aruch and all of the pratim. But it's one rotzen, one omid, meaning a desire to be part of this aspect of your life, whether it's tefillin, whatever the mitzvah is. So on the one hand, this was a bit of a tension here that he pointed out, or an overt contradiction. On the one hand, these 620 pillars of light that come from the Ratzon are completely incomparable to the Ratzon, because again, the Ratzon is, I want you, hands, feet, what are you? So it's incomparable. It's incomparable to the expression of the Ratzon that deals with a specific time and moment and aspect of your life. It's like, I love you. You're going to pratim, it's you. And then there is a mother, a child. And then there is, she's a specific dressing the child, getting a specific detail here. And completely, that's what's absorbs her at that moment is the specific. It's an incomparable moment to I love you in the big embrace. The pnimis, it's all the same. But the chitzonius, it's a very, very radically different. The big grand moments, I love you, to the nitty gritty or in a relationship. He looks her in the face and says, I love you, or he's going to the store to pick up the milk and the bread. You look at these moments, their worlds are romantic, and this is a very mundane and practical. The pnimis, hadarabit, as we learn, it's in that detail that the true love is expressed. But b'chitzonius, that's a mundane moment, and this is a very romantic moment. So it's be'ene be'erech, they're not comparable. That's on the one hand. However, if you look, we see if I'm looking at number 13, 4 lines below footnote 13. However, even he says these words here, even the Ratzon as it's drawn into the 620 pillars of light, it's still above his chalkus. As opposed to what, when it gets into the ivorim mamish. The ivorim are the specific limbs mamish. So here we're speaking about the mitzvah still, where, here's the point, where the kavanah of the mitzvah, the rotzen is still manifest. What's the point of tefillin? I want to be part of your brain. I want to be part of your heart. What's the kavanah of sukkah? Every mitzvah. The kavanah is overt here. But the kavanah is addressed to specific, as opposed to the next level, the ivorim, which is the nitty-gritty halacha. The actual halacha, the actual peil mamash of the halacha, as the limb performs it. That's the next level. We have some 3 levels here identified now. We clear? There is the general rotzen. I want a relationship with you. There's the rotzen prati. I want the relationship in every part of you. And then there's the ivorim, the actual implementation of that mitzvah, the addressing the details of the mitzvah. What does he say at the end of the eyes? That the mitzvah is done with the limbs, and the 613 mitzvahs correspond to the 613 evorim and gidim, but mainly the evorim, that's the mitzvahs I say. Not doing is not doing. Doing is, we're not connecting in the same way by not doing an aveda. That's a different discussion. The actual connection, being part of your life, is not when you don't do something. That's not evicting me, but being part of your life is when you do something. There's a famous expression in Chassidus, not to do, then someone could remain l'mayla. To be iskaf your whole life and not to sin, and then no. For that you can be above. Came down, yes, to do something. So the Remachi Vorim, what did he say at the end of those? We'll say it right now. We're just finishing our summary. The Remachi Vorim, because they have bones. Look at a person, right? What's the gestell of a person? Is the skeleton. That holds it all together. That's the bones. That's the whole gestalt in German, English of a person. And he hints here, this word, it doesn't bring him mucker for us, but in the bones, which is that somos, is the atzmius. The atzmius of the pnimius hamoichin is in the bones. It means even from the father, the pnimius hamoichin, from where the tipper came from the father, it comes from the moichin of the father. The pnimius is manifest in the most physical expression of the child, the bones. That's hinted to in the word atzomos. All hinting to it, doesn't spell it out. That in the evorim mamish, when you get down to the nitty-gritty performance of this mitzvah and all of its details, that's where the atzmius harotzen is really manifest. That's what I want, is part of your life in the minusha of your life. Okay, so in summary, 3 levels. The rotzen kloli, that's like lifnei atzimtzum, that's the moyach itself. That is higher than or the skull, which is the tzimtzum. And what does Hashem articulate there in his deepest, most intimate part of him? What does he want to be part of a Jew's life? Period. Then the implementation of that is the tzimtzum and the 613 ritzoines. It's all one rotzen, because he says it's the question is, there's 613 pillars of light. There's no ischalkus there. That's ischalkus right there. No, it's not. It's I want a part of your life. Now my design, you have all these parts. I want to be part of all of that. But it's one rotzen. It's still that's one rotzen part of your life. And then there's the evorim de malka, the limbs of the king, where the rotzen is manifested in the details, mamash of the mitzvah, paralleling to the details of the person's life, and therein lies the atzmius. Because that's the whole point of it. The whole point of it is this moment right now, we connecting in this very intimate, deep way. That'll be different the next moment, because next moment is a different limb, a different mitzvah. Okay, so let's go further. That was a summary at the beginning of Vayz Gimel, more or less. Zeo klolos inyan. Oh. Okay. Zeo klolos in kim mitzvahs, and this is the general of kima mitzvahs. Klolos in the kima mitzvahs. What's the whole point of mitzvahs? Shal yodam nimshach merotzen le'elyen. Mitzvahs are the agency by which the divine supernal rotzen, which is what, again, I want to be part of your life, taryag orchin. So from there, there's drawn down the 613 pathways shaboim bischalkos bekelim b'zah that end up. Okay, we have these oases before. We did, but revisiting it here. These chalkos in kelim b'zah, that's already the vorim already. That's already the mitzvah mamash articulated in all of its detail. Kabbalah language coming now, let's try and get it. So the rotzen comes all the way down into the kelim of Zoh, right? We're talking Atzilus, post Simtzum, Moichin, and the midas of the Eibishter. The kelim of Zoh, the Beis Shammai, Beis Hillel, but more than that. Some mitzvahs are in of Chesed, some of Gevurah. But in mitzvahs Gufa, there's Chesed, Gevurah, but all the way down to the final Chesed mitzvah, Gevurah mitzvah, the kelim of Zoh. Now it says in Kabbalah as follows: it's an interesting thing. What's the kavanah of mitzvahs? To draw from the pure rotzen into atzilus. So, in other words, how is that done? It's only done when the Jew does the mitzvah. But so where's the Jew? He's not in atzilus, he's in Edom Hazard. But what he affects is the Moishe Eidus and Atzilus. Now we're not used to so much this language. Atzilus is just a means for Dira B'Tachtonim. That Atzilus should have an aliyah. The point that Teisvus Eidus, the point is here lamata. He's going to say v'oidzos in a minute that Teisvus Gila Gam lamata. So what do we care if there's Teisvus Eidus and Atzilus? The general answer to that is, as we've already encountered this, that the whole state of Shtalshalis is transformed as a result of a Yid doing a mitzvah. And if Atzilus isn't transformed, then we didn't transform here either. And ultimately, what's the transformation in Atzilus is that Eibishter wants a Yid Lamata, the Dir is B'Tachtoin. That's the big transformation. Before Yid does a mitzvah, Atzilus thought that Atzilus looks down here like what? With disdain. At best. But as a result of a Yid doing a mitzvah, Toisves, Eidus, and Atzilus, whoa, the Kadebish, no. The Kavanah is the Yid, the Kavanah is the Mata, and thank God we're a part of it. That's the Toisves, Eidus, and Atzilus. Why are we a part of it? Because there's no Tachten, there's no alien. So we have served the Kavanah. Atzilus appreciates its role in Dira B'Tachtonim in as much that he wants a Tachten, so he made an alien. No. That's why we're here, because he wants that. But that justifies us. All of it is suffused with, it's all one kavanah. So let's see in the mind. Hainu. So first he said, this is according to, look at out of 17. It's Chaim. Kabbalah is for him. You have to appreciate, because this came along and, Kabbalah, till the Alter Rebbe in Tanya, Perek Lamed Zayin, we made it clear the Kavanah Dira B'Tachtonim and so on. It was not at all. It was Kavanah is a mile and Kavanah and Edim Esel Yoinim. There is the union of the Nitzutzim and Biru Nitzutzis, but it's all about elevating them to above, redeeming the clear understanding. The Kavanah is the Tachten, and Atzmas is Dafke, the Yesha Amitis and the Yesha Nivra. This is a big chiddush of Chassidus that makes everything it says in Kabbalah now really clear and understood. Obviously, it's not a new thing. Let's continue. So continuing now, Hainu, the quote makes Chaim. The Hamshich Teisvus Eir Bekelim Dezo. So the kavanah is of mitzvahs is to be mamshich Eir in Atzilus Kelim Dezo. Ramachi Vorim de Malka. The details of the Estes Sfiras of Atzilus are the 248 limbs. I never saw this written, but I've just always said this. The 613 is 6 and 1 and 3, but Mitzvah Kotn, it's 10. So the 10, maybe it says, I'm sure it says, the 10 Estes Sfiras break down into the 613 pratim, but primarily it's the 248 hamshachas. Again, the 365 is more, is a higher oil, that's the truth, but it's loisasa. At any rate, so by doing, what's the point of mitzvahs? The point of mitzvahs is where mamshich, the rotzen, the alien, toisvis oil, where natzilus. V'aidzos. Furthermore, it's not just in Atzilus, but it's the whole kavanah and part of it. And critical to it all is that there should be revelation where also down here. Shall you do it now? More Kabbalah is here. Shekalim, this kalim, lamet kalim. So he goes in the setak in the brackets here. Where does 30 kalim come from? 30 kalim are the 10 spheres basically. Chitzonius, Pnimius, and Atzmius. That's where this number 30 kelim comes from. Now, he talks about Shekelim, Lama Kelim, the Zoh. No, Zoh is only the midas. Remember, Zoh is there. Anpin means small faces as opposed to long faces. Arich Anpin is what? I mean, a long face isn't depressed. A long face isn't a big Giloy, a big Pnimius. Arich Anpin, a lot, big revelation of the Pnimius. What's that? Arich Anpin is what? What level is Arich Anpin? Yeah, the low level of Kes. Right. So Zoh is small faces, a smaller Giloy. Now, Bechlal, it's the 7 midas. But as we know, everything's integrated. And he said before, there's the midas, shaykhs to Moichen, Moichen, shaykhs to midas. We mean the 10. So that's the number 30 is the 10 spheres, specifically as the 10 are in Zoh. Hema Moke the Elam is Biyah. So Kalim, the Kalim of Zoh, that's the source of Biyah. Quite simply, Hashem creates in 7 days. What's this? That's Zoh. That's Chesed, Gevurah, Tiferet. That's what creates Biyah, creation. Now, but Protis Yosef now explaining doesn't really say that this is. He does not say in the square brackets that this is these 3 divisions of Pnimis, Chitzonius, and so on is the 30, but it says elsewhere. Protis Yosef, yes, Gimel Madreges Bekelim, the Kelim have 3 dimensions. Pnimius HaKeli, the Pnimius, or the Etzem, and Tziyusay, it's middle, V'chitzoniusay, and it's external, like a physical Keli. It's Pnimius, it's middle, and it's external. Now, what does it mean? The Pnimius HaKelim is a source of Neshamas. Why? Because Neshamas are rooted in the Pnimius Evelikus, and it's all about Neshamas. Everything else serves that. The middle level, this is all metaphors. This is not the Gashmis, it's just language, metaphoric language. The middle level, which is not so expressive of the Pnimius HaKavana, screened and veiled somewhat. Now we're talking about means to an end. Pnimius means not a means. Pnimius means this is it. Everything else is a means. So there's the Emtsois, a means that Sheresh HaKelim. The Chitzonius HaKelim, the external level of the Kelim, who Sheresh HaNevraim, that's the source of actual creations. Meaning to say that Malachim and creations, etc., it's all a means by which the Neshama in its relationship with God should be expressed in the deepest way, and that happens by sending the Neshama into the Guf, Nilamazah, and doing the whole Avodah of Torah mitzvahs, and etc. I hope we're not lost in all the words here. The general idea we're getting, yes? Yeah? Not lost in floating in space here. Okay. And therefore, what's the therefore? Through mitzvahs. He just finished saying, yeah, sin. Kabbalah says the kavanah is to be mamshich, light the rots and the alien into Zoh. The Rebbe just said Zoh is the source of biyah. So if he be mamshich, the rots and the alien in Zoh, therefore, through being mamshich taisvis oiris became the Zoh shem amoked the biyah nimshich taisvis gilui oir gambei lelamata. Therefore, because biyah Zoh, the 6 midas, the 7 midas, is the source of creation. If we're going to energize the 6 midas, we're going to energize creation, and therefore the Hamshach is lamata. We got the technical stuff right. Yeah? The Indians, nasa de maisa mitzvahs, and all of this is affected through mitzvahs, the Knesset Yisrael, the Sata Dafka, through Yidden down here. The Heinel, which Knesset Yisrael, B'chinas HaMalchus. Zoh needs to be, Malchus is the actualization, is the word, is Neshamas Yisrael. We'll revisit this tomorrow, how Zoh completes, Malchus, which is Neshamas, complete the whole Kavanah.